Hey, Cody,
What's up, Lowell?
how many guitarists does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
One to do it, and 12 others to stand around and say, Shh, I can do that.
I am so goddamn poor, nothing gets me up anymore. I am so old and jaded, overblown and overrated. So give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff. Everything is never enough. Give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff. Give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. I want your stuff.
These get worse and worse every week.
As they should. As they should.
These are the dad jokes of musician jokes. Welcome to the Pedal Board Podcast, the podcast where us jaded gear junkies hunker down and try to find our next fix because it gets harder and harder as we get more jaded and jaded. So today we have our faithful other host. I don't say co-host because I don't want to demean him. Host with the most, Vince DeJoya. He's beautiful, he's bold, he's olive skinned. We love him. And today's guest, today's guest is Cody Fields from Westminster Effects. Hi, Cody.
What's up, fellas?
How
Thanks
are
for having me on.
Nice. He gets it. See, he gets it, Vince. Like,
Never said he did. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing.
we love to bring on pedal builders or manufacturers or creative types because, like, for me, I've always described guitar pedals to myself. I mean, there's two ways I describe them. One is sound toys, because it's a way to, if you have like a good platform and you introduce these things, it's just a lot of fun. And then also sound tools, because if used properly, these things can be weapons, and weapons against the ears of your listeners. Some more so than others.
Especially in your case.
Ouch. Oh, my heart. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's over here.
You don't have one.
It's big. It's big. It's bold. It's beautiful. Plus, I'm like a foot taller than you, so just be quiet. We
Hate you.
So tell us, like, just kind of give our listeners like a brief overview of kind of what Westminster Effects is all about.
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit of an oddball in several aspects, and I've just learned to own it. You know, I'm okay with that. So I actually I don't have an engineering degree like so many pedal builders do. You know, I think of guys like Robert Keeley or maybe Brian Wampler, where they're just experts in, you know, hey, let me do this calculation on what this resistor is going to do.
That's a rare breed. That's actually a rarer breed.
Yeah.
Like, just guys just going for it.
Right. And so my degree is actually in journalism. So I know how to communicate the thing. I learned how to do that. And I was working at an advertising agency here in Greenville, South Carolina that went south. And I quit with the intention of going freelance. And in the meantime, I got a General Guitar Gadgets Blues Breaker kit. I've always been a DIY guy, and built the thing. And I was like, that was fun. I got ideas. Let's make some money. And so being the nerd that I am and running in the circles that I run in, I've played guitar in church for the last 10 or so years. And I kept realizing that a lot of church guitarists just don't give a crap about actually thinking through their beliefs. And I'm also a church history nerd. So ergo, Westminster Effects being a callback to the Westminster Confession of Faith, since I'm in the more reformed branch of Christianity, but also you see guys like Ulrich Zwingli or John Chrysostom featured on my pedals, because it's like, hey, church guitarists, go read these dead guys. And if you're not a church guy, you can still sound good.
I have a question. I did notice that one of the things I read in the About Me kind of section of your webpage, and I did kind of notice I was raised Catholic.
Sure.
So, like I had, but I noticed that I read that a lot of your pedals, like at least the names in name, are based off of like dead theologians, right? So
Yep.
I did have one question. Which theologian is the Chick-Fil-A based off of?
Well, it is most of them. Most of the pedals are based off of dead theologians. That was actually a suggestion that somebody gave me, since we jokingly call it the Lord's chicken.
Yeah.
Christian chicken, whatever. And it just fits so perfectly. And I don't know if I actually got a cease and desist letter over the original artwork.
I do.
It was a logo, right?
I remember. I actually remember seeing that.
It was a little on the nose.
Forums,
Yeah. But that was the nicest cease and desist I've ever heard of. I got free food out of it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you.
All right.
Let me see if I can. So you see that frame right there.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god.
That letter is from like their chief operations officer or something like that. Their intellectual property lawyer emailed me and said, hey, my client has some concerns about this pedal. He's like, can you give me a call? We'll keep everything cordial. And he's like, if we can help it, we prefer to make friends in these processes.
That's fair.
Because he deals with everybody from like mom bloggers who will make a bib that says I heart Chick-fil-A for their kid, and it's hey, can you maybe not do that? And then they deal with people who make fake coupons, right? So you got to be a little more heavy-handed with that.
Yeah.
And my lawyer says I'm covered under satire law, right? But then it becomes, do I really want to get in a pissing match with this juggernaut of a legal team? And no, I don't. I'd rather just ditch the art and go for something else. And everything was really cool. I did a podcast about it, talked about how their bacon was actually worth something in the fast food world. Most fast food bacon is just floppy garbage. And they listened to this podcast and referenced it in that letter and said, hey, since you like bacon, here's coupons for our new like barbecue bacon chicken sandwich or something that they were experimenting with.
Well, catch more flies with like honey, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I have more respect for them now. Like, I mean, I love Chick-fil-A anyway, but that's
right.
It's cool that they were super cordial about it, because they could have been dicks.
Exactly. And I had the exact opposite experience with Vox, where
with the Geneva.
With the Geneva version 2 art, I didn't realize that Vox had trademarked their grill cloth. I had no idea.
Oh, really?
And so all of a sudden, this big name attorney in New York slaps me with like 7 attachments in a PDF with, hey, here's our trademarks and patent numbers and whatever. And so my lawyer got significantly more sarcastic in his response to Vox, where they were even trying to say that using the hashtags of Vox or Vox AC30 was confusing for their customers. And so my lawyer was like, that's really immaterial and nobody really believes that, but my client will still honor your wishes, but he has no control over customers using the same hashtags, including hashtags such as hashtag sounds better than a Vox AC30.
I'm going to start.
That's fantastic.
I'm going to start using that hashtag on everything.
Everything. Absolutely everything.
I'm I'm writing it down.
Oh man, that's fucking perfect.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
man.
it was just like I'm sitting here I knew something was coming. And it was just like, oh my goodness, like this is too perfect to not send.
Yeah. I don't see why they get pissy over it. The fact that you're, and I get it, like it's trademarked and all that, but you're creating something that's kind of a callback to one of their most popular products,
Right.
and in turn, I guess promoting them in a way. So I don't see why people get pissed off at that sort of thing.
It's because, dude, you got to really boil this down too. Like we have a few talking points too, because I've noticed that you're kind of your pedals cater to a kind of a faction, definitely like a faction of guitar players. I worked in a music store in Vancouver, Washington, in Eastern Vancouver, Washington, and my primary customer for guitar stuff was worship guitarists.
Oh yeah.
Primary, like. But that aside, we'll talk about that later. But like one of the things that you don't know is Vox, I believe, is owned by Yamaha, and Yamaha is
Giant.
the juggernaut of juggernauts as far as musical instruments go.
If I recall correctly, I think Vox is actually owned by Roland these days. I think Yamaha owns line 6.
Yeah, the Yamaha
Am I
owns
right?
line 6. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah.
where we
Roland owns Vox now, huh?
Yeah, but
that might be right, too.
regardless,
Yeah,
regardless,
I mean,
you're
still,
talking about
a big name.
2 giant Japanese corporations. You know.
Yep.
Boss, but like I know Boss is just so cool to work with. They're unbelievably cool to work with. So that's depressing that Vox. All I can tell you though, not to like dog Vox too much, is we never had amps that we had to send back more.
I've heard that there have been issues with like the capacitors that they've been using the last 5 or so years.
Yeah, it was bad. The only one that came close was Black Stars, like cheap Black Stars, like the really cheap Black Stars. We had to send back a lot too.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah, my AC15 over the last couple of weeks is just kind of shit the bed. Like it's just every time I turn it on, there's a shitload of hum. Doesn't matter where the gain is or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was working fine, and then just one day shit the bed.
So does it sound? And I'm seriously going to use the hashtag "sounds better than an AC." I wrote it down so that I do not forget to do it.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And that's and granted, oh, here it is. I actually pulled up the response letter. They're owned by Korg, which I guess.
Oh, okay.
But it obviously wasn't Vox's fault that their lawyer decided to be a turd, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not on Vox. And like I still use a Vox AC15 at church. I still am gonna make the Geneva, which is a callback to the AC30.
I mean, Vox as a whole, I mean, they're good quality.
Good. It sounds good.
Yeah. And I've always been that person, like, how there are controversial, I guess, pedal companies. Like there was JHS was a thing for a while, and Vertex and whatnot. But unless the company is really, I guess, truly like immoral, then I'm not going to deny myself a great piece of gear because the owner said something that pissed a few people off or whatever. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It would have to be something pretty heinous for me to not like get into it. You know what I mean?
Well, Full Tone is like, a bunch of people hate Full Tone because of Mike Fuller's comments a while back, like last year during all the stuff that was happening. And I mean, I get it. Like that's fine. To each his own. But I am a huge fan of his pedals. They're on my pedal board right now, and I'm not going to deny myself of that because he said something that a few people got pissed off at. That's just, I mean, it's just not me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many people like? I don't have a very big company, and I have irritated a bunch of people.
It's inevitable. Like it doesn't matter what you do or say, it's going to happen.
Right, and there are some times where it's like I literally can't win. Where I've irritated. Like we've gotten to the point in our culture where I've literally irritated left and right with the same. The same post.
Well, it was it was back when we did the giveaway in February. And we had the giveaway post. That one guy that was complaining that, oh, do I have to share this religious like content? Like, dude, like the page if you want to get in on the giveaway, then dislike it later. Like, why are you sitting there bitching on Instagram because a company is choosing to do business the way they do business?
Right. Right.
I can't win sometimes. I've always been one of those dudes that's walked the line, jumped over the line, like clear. Like I will bury heinous crap. I will throw it out there like well over the line, deep into the void. You know what I mean? Like I just don't care. I just don't care. I am immune to your disdain. So,
like we were saying last time, like a good portion of the guitar community is just super fickle and super opinionated, and it doesn't matter what you do or say. Like there is going to be a good portion of people that hate what you do for no reason.
Oh yeah, and I've definitely caught that. I also have some people who will absolutely love whatever I do, regardless of whatever it is. What's funny is, we going back to the Chick-Fil-A, I actually got an order from a guy. This is like the 6th or 7th pedal that he's bought from me. He's a Chick-fil-A franchise owner. He just keeps coming back, and I love it.
He's probably got money. I
can imagine.
Probably make some money.
Yeah.
So did they only had the problem with the artwork, not the name?
Yeah, there's nothing they can do about the name. Because it's obviously referring to it, but within the confines of satire law. Like, what are you going to do? Like, I'm not using your name, or anything that's trademarked in that aspect. He didn't outright request it, but talking with the lawyer, he said something along the lines of, maybe if you make it purple or something, and it's like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, but it's not their red that I'm using for the powder coat.
Yeah, they can't own a freaking color. I mean,
yeah, you can't. Well, you actually can trademark colors. Like if you really dial down on something, like I'm pretty sure the University of Texas has their burnt orange trademarked. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, but it's like the specific number color of it.
Exactly. Yeah, like that.
Like hyper specific.
That very specific Pantone chip or whatever. But yeah, like I think you can, but at the same time, it's like it's red and it's white. It's not your red and white.
Yeah,
deal with it. and they don't care. I haven't heard anything from them in 3 years or something like that. And they've
check these out. These are Nerf knock around glasses they sent me. They're Nerf themed. I wonder if this is trademarked. It should be.
that one shade of neon snot.
Yeah. No, I like it's kind of like sunglasses are a trademark thing of my own, and like these guys make the bombest stuff. So
there you go.
Quick shout
I can dig it.
Knock around sunglasses, guys. We got a few more of those we're gonna have to do too, because we have some very gracious sponsors of this podcast.
So what other problems have you run into? I'm just curious, because obviously being a religious sort of based company, I imagine you pissed off a lot of people, but were there any, I guess, that really stood out?
Yeah, I've only run into at least stores who outright told me, any kind of sales pitch is low conversion rate. Like that's just a thing. I've only had 2 stores ever tell me, no, we don't want your pedals because of your messaging. One of them left it at the messaging. Fine. If you're not on board, then I'm not going to hold it against you. We'll go our separate ways and maybe be friends, maybe meet you at NAMM and maybe win you over. I don't know. But one of them was a store owned by a Roman Catholic guy who was really irritated at the fact that I had something referencing Martin Luther and John Calvin and Ulrich Zwingli and all those reformers that really, stuck their finger in the eye of the papacy and the Roman Catholic Church and that entire system. And it was like, okay, I get it. Like, I probably wouldn't carry a line that was explicitly popes. So I get it. So I've had a little bit of that. I've had some a little bit of pushback with some of my messaging from people in the church world, because I'm out here saying, scripture alone is the sole perfect rule of faith for the Christian. And there are some people saying, no, we can make stuff up as we go. And I'm saying, no, you can't. Sometimes more forcefully than others, but but some people just don't take kindly to that. And I have to deal with my own consequences when I have that kind of messaging, and I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, religion itself has become a super controversial topic, and now you're mixing it in with the guitar pedal realm, and
oh yeah,
it's
there's a huge demographic for it, though. I mean,
there is, worship guitarists are huge.
Yeah,
right.
Like I said, when I worked at the music store, that was my primary that's primarily who we sold gear to.
Right.
And we'd even went as far as to we do consultations with these really huge churches in town to install sound systems.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you even have an entire night of NAMM dedicated to houses of worship just so they can shill PA stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a big. It's not. I wouldn't even call it a niche market.
No, it is the market.
It is there is a whole market dedicated to just that.
Right, absolutely. And I'm okay with it. I'm not hating on that, but let's be honest, the church market is the market for pro audio.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely aside from concert halls.
Yeah.
You're gonna this is the main clientele for these big PA systems.
Right.
And, I cannot even tell you how many Earthquaker devices afterneath I've sold. Sorry. The numbers in it's a lot.
Yeah.
Those big washy reverbs are pretty popular.
Yeah, exactly. But to your point of selling so much gear to church guitarists, it's one of those things where typically in our culture people are pushed to be musical and artistic and feely, or they're pushed toward or it's being pushed toward being athletic, or maybe being a gun guy or a military type guy or a car guy, something like that, where there's no really in between, if that makes sense. Where being a Christian company, this is kind of my thing. You look in the Bible, you get both, right? You get the bulk of the Psalms, so they're literally poetry. They're songs written by the warrior King David, where there's even the line in the Bible, Saul has killed his thousands and David his tens of thousands. So David goes out in battle, kills a bunch of people, and then writes a song about it, which is also kind of metal. But it doesn't all have to be fog machines and laser shows in church. We can also think well about these things. And I think that extends to the culture too, where I don't have to just be a sports fan. I can also be a fan of things that are beautiful, right? I don't have to just grunt, but I also don't have to just want to cry myself to sleep at night. It can be both.
And the thing is too, you got to remember, I've just seen a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
Let's just talk about the worship guitar player.
Yes.
Just like any other demographic of guitar player, there are good ones and there are bad ones, and then there are real bad ones. No, I actually grew up. When I was growing up, my best friend played in the worship band, and he was a fantastic guitar player. He was playing I do recall he had a Hughes and Kettner, a really nice Hughes and Kettner amp, and this was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it was back when they were a thing. And a Paul Reed Smith Tremonti, not an SE or anything. This is before this,
but
the actual,
but the real deal Tremonti.
the real deal Tremonti sounded fantastic. and he still plays guitar, and he's a great guitar player. But and then I remember that I worked with this one guy who was he would play in this band, and it was always very trancey, and he would always do the Jesus Christ pose like on stage.
Oh yeah.
Like he'd spend most of the show, with the art, like just doing this the whole time. Like he's got like a $10,000 J, like Gibson acoustic guitar just hanging there as he's Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a prop at that point.
It's a prop at that point, yeah. But I've seen some really good ones. I mean, it's like I just don't think people like have rushed to pigeonhole, but like this is a demographic of guitar players just like any other demographic of guitar players.
Exactly.
Like, exactly. Kind of like thing, you could be at a thing, and there's every guitar player in the audience is going to be like, just like in any show.
If I had $1 for every person who stood like that at one of my shows.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Yeah, my wife and I are in a little post-hardcore band, and by post-hardcore I mean like 2009 and 10 era post-hardcore. The synth and the girly vocals and all that kind of stuff.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. And for some reason in the Greenville-Spartanburg area for a long time, about the only other bands in the area were deathcore bands. So we always ended up playing with deathcore bands, and they, it was arms crossed, and they were unimpressed the whole time. And just like what you're talking about with worship guitarists, you also have really good and really terrible deathcore guitarists. Like we played with a band one time, and it was like I think he was playing an orange half stack or something like that, and maybe like a really nice ESP guitar, and his tone was just sludge. I'm like, what are you doing? You have fantastic gear and it sounds terrible. And yeah, you really nailed that.
When I growing up, I actually grew up in a pretty small town in Alaska, of all places. There was it's one of those towns where there's a church on every corner.
Yep.
Like a mega church on every corner. Well, it's all oil field money, so there's like a lot of money. And when you see this kind of place, it's very suburban, very a lot of blue collar, white collar, kind of stuff going on. Very blue, very much blue state Alaska is. So you just see a lot of, like, it had the perfect culmination of elements to like create these places. And and I just recall like the post-hard, like the 2008 2009 post-hardcore seemed to hit their heart. So, and
because you had so many Christian bands involved with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it hit the churches. Like you would see these girls that would sing in the church all the time start these like evanescence-y kind of like like post-hardcore bands.
It was Evanescence if they had anxiety issues, and it was
exactly.
Paramore otherwise.
Yeah, very Paramore-ish. I just remember like when my band would tour, and there's a band that we did that was very much like what you're saying, like exactly, you just nailed their sound. Like,
yeah.
It had like Paramore, very much so. Evanescence, if it had like was more angst ridden and a little more frantic maybe. And then they like, actually weirdly enough, like when I moved to the Portland area because I was touring so much that flying back and forth from Alaska was just not going to happen anymore. I was just super tired. So I moved to a place a little bit more centralized so I could get places easier. But one of the girls' bands that did that moved here too, and did it here for a good long while until it just kind of like, I think people quit showing up. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
They just like in Portland, the Portland music scene is pretty rich. At least was. I mean, it's starting to wake up, but it's pretty rich around here. But it's just funny that you said that because it just instantly took me back to like 2008, 2009.
Oh yeah.
I was touring at that point. There was all these bands popping up. I did have a quick question like for you though. Speaking of COVID, How has COVID affected your business? Was it for better or for worse?
It was actually for better, believe it or not. I had my
General consensus.
I had my best year ever last year.
Yeah, that's what we've been finding with everybody.
Yeah, where so many people started buying stuff online, and so one of my dealers, who's an online only guy, had to get a bigger warehouse because he was selling so much more. And so obviously, like I'm really tight with my local music store, and they kind of took a hit, but at the same time they had planned to, because they're focusing more on distribution these days, and so they showed adaptability, which was really cool to see. But I picked up some new dealers and just went to town. Like I've just been super thankful for that. Where it, I work from home. Like this is my home office that you see in the background.
You're looking at my home office, dude.
Yeah. And so like I think it kind of woke a lot of people up. Like you can make widgets out of your own house, and you don't have to be boss level. You don't have to be EHX level, right? You don't have to be Fender or Gibson level. You can be how many followers do I have on Instagram right now? 6,300 or something like that. You can have 63 Instagram followers and make a perfectly decent living off of it, and that's awesome. That's one of the great things about social media these days.
No, for sure. It's definitely like COVID has changed the name of the game. And I think what it did is for a lot of folks, I know a lot of businesses that have sprung out of COVID because people finally got the free time that they needed to get it off the ground. Me looking at me right here, I'm one of them,
Awesome.
When COVID came around, I wanted something that couldn't be taken away from me. You know what I mean? Like something that was motored on my own thing. I was tired of working in like retail environments where I was just getting pounded by other people's BS. You know what I mean? Like it's just, people are not nice to retail workers, and you put a mask on them, they get real nasty. You know what I mean? Like, like it got worse.
But because there's no facial recognition. Like when I cover up half my face, like one, you're not going to recognize me next time I come in. But two, like that becomes like a shield for them,
It's especially a psychological shield. But for me, my face gets real mean looking when people start trash talking me. So it's like that was my defense. It's like, oh, this guy does not look happy. This guy looks like he might do something or might stab me with like his linoleum knife that he's got stuffed in his sock. So like maybe I should back off. Well, but when I look like this, you can't see that. So then it's just like I'm just like having to sit here, just take punch after punch. Of just these nasty Karen and Kyles just come and just sit in the top of their clouds of judgment, just handing down life lessons to us lowly sinners down here on the sales floor. You know what I mean? Like it's just like just pounding us with their BS and their weirdness and their bad days, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. So now I don't have to. Now I'm the boss, and if you want to talk like that to me, you're going to pay a price.
There you go. There you go.
It's nice now too, because it really showed everyone that you can work from home successfully. Like you were saying, that's what I'm doing now. I still go to work every day just because I have to, but and once that's done, I'm going to work from home. I can build pedal boards in my home. I can make videos at home. So I hate leaving the house anyway, so it works out even better for me. But it shows like everyone's doing it now, and you don't have to go somewhere to make a living anymore.
And like my dad is an IT guy, and his company actually transitioned his entire office. Like they're like a big international corporation, and they had already planned to turn his entire office into a remote arrangement, I guess you could say. So they were already transitioning to everybody working from home, even just so they could save on the rent from the office building.
That makes sense.
It's just crushing overhead at that point. And I think a lot of guys have definitely hopped on that train. I know we have another co-host of this podcast who's on sometimes. His name is Brandon Schock of Schock Rock Effects. He builds a lot of really crazy out there like guitar effects. He was just recently featured on the JHS like New and Notable.
Oh, nice.
Just exploded his business. Like it just
Yeah.
He's
And then all the used prices went through the roof on Reverb.
yeah, but I mean his stuff he puts it on even before that he puts it on Reverb and it's gone in 5 minutes. I mean it's like
Oh, that's
he
awesome.
builds them like one off, you know, he's not like producing them.
Yeah.
But his stuff kind of like got launched into the stratosphere during COVID too. But the thing is he's like one of them weird eclectic geniuses that really doesn't want to do this for a living. He does this because he likes to do it. And I think that he's audacious to jump into doing it to a living because it's going to take that joy out of it. For him. You know, like this is something that he creates these crazy things, and you know he makes like series of 4, or he'll like do one-offs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it kind of it was thrust upon him during COVID. It was not like he tried to do it. It was like literally thrust upon him.
Yeah.
So
well, that's part of the beauty of the pedal industry is there are so many approaches, right? Where you can have guys who like do super minimalistic art. You have guys who build on Vero board, which just I'm not even going to touch that. You know, where like I'm definitely a PCB guy. I'm not going to do point to point or anything like that. But all of those methods sound good. You know, all those methods sound good. Everything can look good, whether it's minimalist or super busy. And then at the same time, you have room in the industry for me to go, hey, this is going to be a production model. I'm going to order a bunch of PCBs at one time, you know, throw them all together and get stuff out the door. Or a guy can be like, hey, I'm just going to make this one and that's it. Yep. And there's room for all of that. And that's one of the really cool things, I think.
We just did an interview with Michael Gardner of Emergy Effects out of Britain, and he builds all his stuff on like on those little series circuits, like you know.
Ugh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's super duper old school. But I love like one of the things I love about guitar gear in general, and we said this on our inaugural episode, is I believe, and it will boldly state, that we are living in the golden age of guitar gear.
Right now,
Stuff
yeah.
has never been more accessible. You're not pinned in by giant corporations anymore that basically, I just remember when I was a kid, I could walk to the store and I could there was only 2 brands of pedals represented at the store when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Boss pedals, and at the time, Dan Electro pedals, because they were a really big deal and they weren't expensive.
Yep.
And occasionally you get something like a DOD, and if you were lucky, you get a Crybaby. You know, like I just remember, like I grew up in the 90s, you know, so it's like this was a different time. But now you walk into a guitar store, and you got big companies sitting right next to just John Everyman companies. Sitting right next to kind of these mid-level, really awesome mid-level creative companies. And I just love that. And then you can go out and buy something like a Helix that's got it all in there. Like any kind of style. If like there's a couple styles of guitar players I've noticed. There's like the ease of use and the non-ease of use. You've got like the guys that's like, man, I just want to be able to work quickly and efficiently and just get stuff done. And then you've got the complete polar opposite of that is like, I don't need all this garbage. Ease of use is ruining the soul of music. I believe you need to fight for everything. And then you have all the shades in between, right? Like, but every demographic is represented. You can actually buy a decent tube amp for under $1,000 now.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's crazy. You know, like even with inflation and all this other stuff, you can buy a modeling amp that actually sounds super good. You know, you know, it just depends on what you want to do. Like me, I'm definitely into high quality gear. I've been doing this my whole life, literally professionally my whole life. So, you know, I like tube amps, I like guitar effects, I like lots of them. I like to play with them. They're my toys, they're my paints. Like I just paint with them pretty much. When I would sell guitars, I used to say this, like people would be like, okay, well, I want to start playing guitar. And I wasn't like a sales, like a real sharky sales guy. So I wanted to just give them what I felt would work for them the best. So I'd pose this this thing to them. I would say, okay, what are we looking into? Like acoustic guitar is cool because it's all in one. You don't have to have a bunch of parts and pieces to make it work. It literally is there. But it's going to be very intimate, and it's going to be kind of like a charcoal drawing. And they'll be like, okay, cool. And I'm like, electric guitar, you're painting with all the colors. You know what I mean? Like you're painting with all the colors.
Yeah.
So,
And both of those are awesome.
And they're both have their place. You know what I mean? It's just got to kind of find what you do for you. But everybody can be represented. And I don't get, like, that's the one thing I don't get about guitar culture. And I've said this multiple times, and I will say it again, and I will continue to say it, is that we need guitar players, gear junkies in general really need to lose this mindset of I am like what I know and what I think is the only way, because it's not. Like it's tell you right now, it's not. And I'm guilty. I am guilty. I was that guy at one point, and I just eventually like I see all these different pathways of people doing things differently. Wait, no, it's going to work for me? No, hell no, it's not going to work for me. But it works for them, and if they're happy, then why do you care? Like
exactly,
it's where I'm at. It's like, why do you care? It's the same thing like you were talking about when, the way that you steer your company. You have people that love this. You love this. It's the way that you want to do it. So why do I care how you want to do this? If you're happy,
if you don't like it, don't look at it.
Yeah, if you don't like it,
keep scrolling.
Scroll on by.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean, dude?
But the thing of it is today is we've given people the ease of making their opinion known.
Yeah.
So
people shouldn't have to earn a voice. You know what I mean?
And so it's super simple for them to complain and be like, oh, well, I don't like that your company is religious or whatever the case is. Like, just scroll on. You don't have to use my stuff. You don't have to like it. Just go with whatever you feel.
Right. It's the opposite side of the same coin, where social media has enabled, this guy in little old Greer, South Carolina to build a brand and make a living, while at the same time it emboldens this random douchebag to try and call me out. Where there are no gatekeepers anymore, and that's great. And every now and then it has a downfall.
Well, it's the double-edged sword. I had this conversation with a friend that we were talking about. He just recently moved to a socialist country. And that's cool. Yeah, he's very happy about it. And he was telling me about it. And I was like, well, I'm a starch capitalist, so
me too.
I was discussing the double, but it is like capitalism is a double-edged sword.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were talking about health insurance, and he's like, I don't pay anything for health insurance. And I'm like, I pay like $400 some a month, right? And it's just like, but that's the double-edged sword of capitalism. I also make a decent amount of money, so it's really not that big a deal. But I have to pay this.
And really, he does pay for health insurance.
Oh, he pays for it. It's not like it's pre-deducted,
Right. And you can, I've actually been listening to a lot of Z-Dog MD, if you have ever heard of him. He's a doctor who does a really good podcast, really good YouTube channel. And he criticizes everybody, but he talks about how our healthcare system actually isn't even capitalist because they don't even tell you the prices up front. That's not capitalism.
Yeah.
It's cronyism at best. So I digress.
I'll give you a good example of this. Like one of the things that I do for a living, and this is not like a flex. It's just what I do. But I run a nonprofit. I run a nonprofit where we give dental makeovers to people that need them.
Oh, nice.
And this is not like, it's not a delineation. It has nothing to do with like social status. Like, if you have like some disability, it's generally anybody. Anybody can apply for this. And we have selection processes to try to be as fair as possible. But anyways, I digress. But one of the things is like we've discussed this too, is that since dentistry in this country is independent, of like a medical board, they're still regulated by committees and stuff, but they still very much free to price the way they want to price and do this stuff. But like, it's like we talk about, like, we couldn't do this in a country that had a different setup because like think about like healthcare. Like a heart surgeon couldn't give you like a heart transplant. There's too many wheels involved and too much machinery and too much bureaucracy. So like I just love, like you see that in the competitive nature of it, and I that's one of the things I just love about being where I'm at and the time that I'm in, is that you see this growth and surge. Like people saw an opportunity with COVID and they jumped on it. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love it. So much cool stuff has come out of something terrible. You know what I mean? Like they took those lemons and they made lemonade. You know,
Yeah.
like, I did it. Vince is trying to do it. He's getting there. You know, he's almost done. Like Vince is currently serving in the armed forces. Thank you for your service, Vince.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey. And
Super excited about it, obviously.
but he's
my,
about done.
my body doesn't hurt or anything. It's fine.
He's about done, right? You're about done. Right? You're on,
Hopefully, in the next few months, I'll be out.
yeah, so he's off trucking on his own journey, building fantastic pedal boards, of which I have. So we're gonna take a second to just give a mild plug to Vince DeJoya, Vagabond Audio. He will build your pedal board and he'll build it right, and it'll be great. Mine is pink. It's hot pink, and
Nice.
I didn't think it could be done, but he did it, and you can do it too. Vince DeJoya at vagabondaudio.info.
Get your pedal board, did.
Get your pedal board did. Didn't I say that before? Yeah, yeah, I said that before. Well, now it seems like a great time to jump into our weekly segment called Sound Toy of the Week.
Paddle time, do dee do dee do. Paddle time, brought from me to you.
Cody, you are our guest, and we would invite you to show us your Sound Toy of the Week.
So my toy of the week is actually more of an experiment that I did over the weekend.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. So I run at home. I run a Duncan Power Stage into a Marshall 212. I'm a pedal platform guy. You know, I want my pedals to be all of my drive and whatever, whether it's high gain, whether it's church, whatever. So, but I also, you know, being a church guy, I have to use absurd amounts of reverb, but I also use absurd amounts of reverb in my post-hardcore band. So that's kind of important with me. High gain and reverb, all of that kind of stuff
It's a
put
fickle
together.
mistress too. That's a fickle mistress.
It
It's
is.
not handled right. Gotcha.
Exactly. And I had been running into issues of when I get into those really big reverbs, whether it's from my own Chalcedonian dual reverb or something like the Strymon Big Sky, or even like a Hall of Fame or RV5 or whatever, just whatever is cranked, I would clip the preamp on the power stage. And so I run my Calvin compressor and the Zwingli SDD3K. It's a preamp. I run those as my always ons. So I experimented. I ran the compressor at the end of the chain, not just after drive, but after reverb as well. And that cleaned that right up. And that it just made a world of difference in how controllable everything is now. Like it still responds with all the dynamics. So I can, you know, back off picking, and it, you know, it's not as distorted with the drive stuff. But I can not worry about, you know, random staticky sounds coming out of my amp when I'm trying to be ambient. And it's great.
What's the meme? Modern problems require modern solutions.
Exactly.
No, dude, that's cool. That's cool. That's the most original sound toy of the week we've had so far. So congrats.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's good. No, it's like a hack. You just gave every post-hardcore guy out there a hack.
Yeah, I basically used a compressor also as a limiter at the very end of the chain. You know,
I never thought to do that.
I always use mine in the very beginning, kind of like a you know, a basic bitch, but like I don't leave it on all the time. I just kind of use it to spank things up, pretty much.
Yeah.
I call it the spank switch, pretty much. You know, like things kind of spanky,
Right.
like a telly. Vince, it's your turn. So please divulge to us your sound toy of the week.
Wampler sent me their Bell Overdrive. It's supposed to be I guess a more modern recreation of the Noble's ODR1 Overdrive. Except within the Noble's one, there's no bass control, and it tends to be a little too bassy. So what Brian did was adding a separate clipping circuit in here, which kind of cuts the bass a little bit, but also gives you control over the bass here. And it sounds really great. There's not a whole lot of gain on tap, but it's really clean. I love this thing. I'm working on a video for this now.
Yeah, I just sent him me and Vince, I live in Washington and he lives in Texas. We send stuff back and forth to each other since we do this.
Yeah.
I just sent Wampler sent me the Rat's Bane, their rat clone. So Vince has got that now too to check that out. That's a lot of fun too. That pedal actually sounds pretty rad. So I'm
about to dive into that.
Yeah. He's also got some other. I threw a big Commander in there for him too, and some other fun stuff. So
there you go.
We my sound toy of the week. You can go on the Pedalboard YouTube channel, Pedalboard Facebook, and Instagram, and check out the rapid fire Death and Rainbows review I did of this very pedal. I just wanted a real quick one to kick off the show and kind of see what I was doing, and I did it. But you can check out the Dan Electro Sitar Swami. Look how clean it is. Behold its majesty, and wait, there's more. Check it out. I even got the really kick-ass shiny box, and wait,
there you go.
There's even more. I'm gonna flex super hard. That's an unfilled out warranty card, dog. So if you want to climb up on the internet, pay way too much money for a Sitar Swami to make your Gibson Les Paul that you paid thousands and thousands of dollars for sound like a space Telecaster, the Sitar Swami by Dan Electro Effects, please don't drive the price up too much of these because they're actually pretty cool, but they're not like $400 cool. Let's get real, guys.
The Dan Electro stuff is actually what got me into pedals.
Me too. Me and Brandon Schock, the other host of the show, collect them. We have his is much larger than mine, but mine's catching up because I just did I was at a music store and they had the minis, like the little mini Dano pedals they made.
Yep.
In box, they had 4 of them.
Man.
Yeah, I got a Boss Extortion while I was there too because I just like really crappy gain pedals, but I do. I'm actually one of the things that we're gonna do on the review show that I do for this channel called Death and Rainbows is I'm gonna do Thrashy Thursdays where I do like a thrash riff with some really garbage pedal.
Yes.
Cause I got like the Gibson Explorer with the headset and all that stuff. So we can through thrash. I got an EVH sitting over there. It's gonna be a good time. But yeah, just a ton of I found 4 of them, and I remember the guy's like, yeah, I'll take the Extortion. He's like, can you play it? I'm like, no, just give me the Extortion. And he's like, cool. I'm like, dude, are those the Dano pedals in boxes? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. I'll take them. He's like, which one? I'm like, all of them. Come on. I got a problem. Don't question it. Just take my money.
I got a fever, and the only cure is more Dan Electro pedals.
For real. I got the Real Echo. I mean, I got a bunch of really cool Dano pedals. I love Dano pedals, but this was one on me and Brandon's hit list. He got one too. He got a really good deal. He got it for $100 or something like that. I got this with the box, warranty card. And this thing is clean as a baby's butt the day it was born. And it was $130. So I was real proud.
Wow. Yeah, when I first started, so I started playing guitar Christmas of 2000, and I got a Line 6 Pod 1.0, so the kidney bean.
Oh,
and I fell in love with flanger. So you can actually see over my shoulder an old Dan Electro Psycho Flange.
Oh yeah, the Psycho Flange rules, man.
Yeah, they're just so ridiculous. It would cause, back in high school, it would cause my CD player to skip when I would play along with songs. It's just so absurd, but I love it.
The struggle's real with the portable CD players. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
trying to like mount those in your car with Velcro and crap.
Oh my goodness. And then when you got the anti-skip CD player, it was just like,
Game changer.
oh my goodness. It was like the beam of light from heaven with the oh.
Yeah, I've got a
It's-
couple Discmans floating around here somewhere. I still kept all that stuff. I also have a Talk Boy. Remember those from?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
It's going to be good stuff. Let's see here. So tell us a little bit about Summer NAMM.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a spot at the Delicious Audio Stomp Box exhibit, which is it's one of the coolest things at NAMM, I really believe, where it's like a dozen different pedal builders. Basically the fact that we're all buying one spot in this like 10 by 20 space just significantly reduces our cost and makes us actually able to get to NAMM, right? Where NAMM in Anaheim is like 3 times more expensive than Nashville. Where like I've had my own booth in Nashville, but at the same time it's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and save all of that money and just do the Stomp Box exhibit.
Yeah.
And it's nobody sees each other as competition, because we all understand, as soon as somebody buys yours, they're going to turn around next month, trade it for one of mine. Right. and so we're like, I've gotten schematics from people at NAMM because of the Stomp Box exhibit, where we're just talking about, hey, how do you do this? Oh, well, XYZ, there you go. And they just tell you, they don't care. It's great.
Why compete with each other though? It's like there's a million different pedal builders out there. Most people are doing a lot of the same thing.
Right.
So, and most of the schematics you can find online, but I mean,
exactly,
you're all doing the same thing. Why compete to that level?
Right. And so you end up making friends with people and all that kind of thing. So also, it being at NAMM, of course, you have to announce something new. And so that will be the first time that my new Fender style amp sim will be available to the public, naming it the Augsburg Deluxe amp sim, since my DI stuff is all named after Reformation cities, because I'm a nerd. And so I'm pretty excited about this one. I've always
deep nerdum, man.
Yeah, it is. I won't lie. With the bass preamp being named after Wittenberg, the acoustic after Zurich, and the Geneva, obviously Geneva, Switzerland. And so with the Augsburg, Fender style bright switch, switchable cab sim, switchable dry through on the 1/4 inch output, so you can run that dry to your amp while you run the XLR out direct to the board, and keep that Fender style going, so you can run into a Marshall or Vox or another Fender for all I care.
Fender, a hot Fender on Fender action.
Yeah.
Romance. Suspense.
But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. It opens up another possibility in what's already my bestseller with the Geneva, and it's my bestseller by a lot. So it's like, well, let's just keep hammering on what I'm doing pretty well with.
I got to get my hands on one of those, and the Augsburg when it comes out.
Yeah.
I need more of that in my life.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, like, if you notice me starting to develop a sheen, it's because it is 106 degrees outside right now, and it's starting to filter in.
Whole lot of fuck that.
Yeah.
It's 72% humidity. That's great.
You're making up for Texas freezing over this winter.
Yeah.
That was a shit show.
It's a crazy world right now, and we're just trying to all skate through it with more guitar pedals. At least I am. I had one of the things that, like, the side effects for COVID for me, one of the negative side effects, as we've been discussing positive, is I started developing crazy anxiety attacks.
Oh, really?
I don't really, like, I'm not the kind of dude, like, that doesn't deal with his issues. You know, like I don't really have any skeletons in my closet because I've faced these skeletons. I've made them friends. We're now one. You know, like you just have to say you have to do it. You know, especially with a mind like mine that would just obsess on it. So I try to deal with that kind of stuff. Try not to get too pent up. But I think what happened is I kind of had like a life victory over the last like year where I had struggled for so long and then I finally won, right? So like I've kind of like gotten the new place and I've gotten all this other stuff because I started having anxiety attacks again like 2 weeks ago. Because I feel like I've won, but my brain hasn't quit fighting yet. You know, like it's like because it was kind of like a scrap, right? But I don't know. It's just kind of it definitely. But it's also become a driving force. I try to take these negatives and make them positives, you know, like where I just like, if I'm feeling anxious, I just come down and work on a video or work on a riff, or I come and work on something or puppet. We're doing that soon too. So I think I'm building puppets, but just anybody.
All right.
Kind of like we're doing a variety show, a guitar culture themed variety show.
It's a pedal puppet show.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't even know what to do with that.
Yeah, no one does.
Neither do we.
I do, and I.
So is it going to be like the Muppet Show?
Yes. Yeah,
I
yeah, but
guess.
like if the Muppet Show met like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and then you added a dash of like a late night show in there.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like musicals and like funny skits and
Demos.
demos.
Yeah.
I am totally on board with this.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Weirdly enough, as like little as people understand it, there's a lot of people on board with this. So all I'm saying is to the listeners out there, just to give you a little shimmer of hope in your lives, in your dismal little lives. As I promise, being really condescending. Take that frown, turn it upside down. You know what I mean? Like if you got some problems in your life, you know what I found helps do them? Like do something.
Guitar pedals.
Yeah, guitar pedals. You know what? How I dealt with a lot of my anxiety is I did a lot of like creature comfort, like shop therapy. Like so. This being, I was actually feeling really. I bought this in the heart of my anxiety attacks, and it made me feel better. It really did. So
Guitar pedals solve all your problems.
retail therapy with guitar pedals. So if you're looking for some fun stuff, maybe check out our friend Cody at Westminster Effects and get some of his bomb effects. I was playing with him yesterday. Was it like the E89? I was messing with that thing.
Yeah.
I was making some.
Dude, I love that. I love that pedal.
I was running that through a Bassman modded DeVille, and it was just ripping. It was ripping.
Oh man, yeah, that's one of my best sellers. It's probably top 2 for best selling drives, and that's why is you get such a wide variety, but especially stacked, like you can just get gross with it.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what I was doing. It's gonna get you will see that will be featured on the run of 6 pedals that I'm doing for Death and Rainbows.
Yes,
on my channel. And the thing is Death and Rainbows is kind of like an unabashed, no holds barred, no quarter given type review show. I'm just really tired of like watching review shows where everybody just licks each other's butts all the whole time. It's so like it's like, oh, it's so great. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And I have had to do reviews in my life where the pedal that I was reviewing was not good.
And honestly, even as a builder, I'd rather have an honest review. If it sucks, let me know and I'll change it.
Yeah.
And I've even had I've had a couple of reviews on my chorus before I got it sorted out a little bit better, and they were like, "Hey, just so you know, there's a little bit of a volume drop with this." And it's like, okay, cool. Like, and don't hide that with your review. Like, let everybody know.
I did. Vince is kind of one of the things that Vince serves really well, and he really I'm gonna say not serves but champions with our channel is that he's the kind of he reaches out to the manufacturers. He's super good at it, way better at it than I am. And but I've told him, like, when you get pedals for this show, you need to tell them that what it is. I don't want anyone dropping a pedal into this thing blind. Like I wanted to know what it is. So if they're confident in their products, by all means, send it over. You know, like, and we will do a review of it.
Yeah.
But
We'll tell you if it sucks.
we're gonna tell everyone else too. You know, I don't think you have anything to worry about though, because I was actually like, I spent a good probably hour and a half with that thing yesterday, and I love like pedals that are stacked up like that, and I love stacking them with other stuff. I was dicking around with like tube screamers, rat pedals, and I did a fab tone. Like used it to punch in front of. I put it in front of a fab tone. Used it to punch a fab tone. That was pretty awful, actually. It wasn't great. Well, I don't think it was your pedal. I really think it was the fab tone.
Right.
I think it's suspicious.
Well, just the Swoop Screamer with the clone, the Klon. I mean, I absolutely loved it because that's one of my favorite combinations for drives, and you did a great job with that. It's
and that's that. The Klon is just to hit the Klon real quick. The Klon is like the only circuit that I'm never going to touch. Everybody already has one. I'm good.
How many clones of them are there? And the fact that I mean, obviously, like you have one, but it's kind of thrown in with the Tube Screamer, so it's definitely different from what's on the market. I like it personally. That's just me. It's that you get that really bluesy thing going. But we don't need another.
We don't need more
Klon.
We don't need more. But yeah, like the 1689 side, being kind of the blend of a Tube Screamer with a Klon, because you have the clean blend is the main way that happens. But yeah, man, like that thing is that one's taken off a little bit. It's actually been on tour with Skillet recently.
Okay.
Seth Morrison, their lead guitarist, has one in his rig, and it kicked off. I don't remember, but it was a really good drive pedal, and he's using that to boost a PRS Archon and a dual rec. And so he's treating it like a traditional Tube Screamer in that sense. But he said as soon as he experimented with it on the road, their front of house guy was like, "Your tone sounds better today." So the little fist pump and congratulated myself on that one.
Nice. So you just signed the check to the sound guy. Like, here we go.
Exactly.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, sound guy, what is your Venmo?
Yeah. No, my usual, like my mainstay pedals on my pedal board haven't changed much. 15 years.
Right.
I do love Tube Screamers. I just used them for a long time. I used a Blues Driver before I got into Tube Screamers, but I have a TS808, like an original. I have a TS9, really nice one, a TS10, and I just kind of that spot on my board. I've been using the 808 for a couple of years now. It just does the job. It gets it done. It does exactly what I want it to do. It has a little bit more nuts than the other two. At least for my rig. And my rig, can switch anywhere from a high gain amp to a, like a basement modded something, or a basement. I've got a basement I use too. Kind of basically, I like Marshalls. So it's kind of, I find that the basement is a fatter sounding Marshall, the high end that you lose with the Marshall, or the low end that you lose with the Marshall, you're still there in the basement. So I really dig that. And it's a good platform for pedals, which is also another benefit.
Yep.
But it's been the same drive section for a long time. It's an 808 into a Green Russian Big Muff. It gets it done. It works. Usually I have amps that I can kick, to get like a good tight sound. Like when I play with my hard rock band, I use an EVH. So most of my gain sounds are coming from the amp itself. I don't really need to like pedal them up. I'll hit the overdrive if I want to like sing. If I really want to just do like a square wave sledgehammer, I'll hit the Big Muff. But like we're just running through a Fender amp, it's been that same combination, which I absolutely love. Vince actually built the pedal board, and He's seen the pedals. Some of them were kind of fickle.
A little bit. You get that with the vintage pedals. I mean,
Yeah, I use a W. I've been using a WH1 as long as I can remember too, which I love octave effects. It's another niche-y, fun, good time for me. So, that's just.
I'm not going to hold any of that against you by any stretch. Like
it's
octave is one of those. If you actually know how to use it,
It's an effective tool.
It can be magical. If you don't know what you're doing with it, it can be a train wreck.
I used to play in a 2-piece band, and I did it for like 9 years. And one of the things I would do to compensate for the lack of a bass player and add low end is I'd use a Digitech whammy. It's actually in that band I was using the 4, and I would run one out to a bass, the octave down out to a bass amp, and then I'd run the octave up to a guitar amp.
Oh, nice.
And because I was doing a lot of like the chicken pickany kind of like bass line walking. Because I do that just natural. I have a natural inclination to do that when I play. And it worked out really good, actually. It worked out super good. So I just kind of rallied up that and did that for a while. I don't do that anymore because I found a really cool bass player. But like,
they're hard to come by.
They are. But that's kind of where my board's at. It's just a little different strokes for different folks, though I am going to have to move some stuff around here pretty soon because I'm getting a lot of really cool things that I would love to just dig around with on my pedal board.
Oh, yeah.
So basically to all our listeners, the process never ends, and that's a good thing. It's a constant ebb and flow and change, and you just have to embrace it. You have to embrace the chaos. You have to walk the raggedy edge and make your Les Paul that you paid thousands of dollars for to have a Les Paul sound like a space Telecaster. So just get yourself one of these. It's literally the demo I did for it's on YouTube. You can check it out if you want, but it's like it sounds like a space Telecaster. Like it's just
that's amazing.
Really plucky. It's got a lot of flange and stuff like that. But I don't know. So we're hitting about the hour mark here. So I just want to thank you, Cody, for joining us on the Pedalboard Podcast. I want to thank Vince for setting all this up and making the wheels turn and the magic happen. So is there anything you guys would like to close out with? Cody, I'll open the floor to you.
Yeah, just give me a follow, Facebook and Instagram at Westminster Effects, and buy crap at westminstereffects.com and help me pay my bills.
Do it. Do it. I have a few of his things that they are good things. So get on board with that. Vince,
we'll definitely have some of your pedals back on here for sure.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
No, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours, and we would just like to say, be fantastic always, everybody, and try not to lick a bag of suck. Good night.
I am